Did you know there's a new Monsters, Inc. sequel streaming on Disney+?
This is like a little teaser.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jay Steele, and today I'm talking with the star and executive producer of the series Monsters at Work. The original 2001 Pixar film starred John Goodman.
I'm Monsters Incorporated.
And Billy Crystal.
I'm in this one.
And now, 23 years later,
We're back!
alongside Ben Feldman as
Tylor Tuskmon, new scarer. It's my first day.
we talk about how Ben became the voice of Tyler, the evolution of the show's animation, and the return of a long-awaited Monsters, Inc. villain.
We're giving away big stuff for the show, but okay.
And the great thing about this interview is that it's recorded using Riverside to give you the highest quality video possible. Instead of recording over Wi-Fi where drops and glitches can happen, Riverside records locally for each person while simultaneously uploading to the cloud, which makes it so easy to get studio quality audio and video like this, plus a built-in teleprompter, transcriptions, and editing that have all saved me time in post-production. Using our sponsor Riverside has been awesome. Try it out. I mean, it's free. So go to the link in the description, or to get 15% off an upgraded plan, use code JACE at checkout.
It's time to show your audience where all the magic happens.
So let's get an overview. How did you become the voice of Tyler?
I met for it. I spoke. I think they heard someone who was uncomfortable at sounding like a cartoon. Oh, hi! Someone filled with neuroses and stammering and just neurotic rambling. And they were like, that sounds different and weird. Let's make him a monster. I think it's my distinct inability to sound right in a cartoon that got me this job. I can't believe I'm actually here.
Tyler is like burly, purple, tall, but I remember in...
Like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, they just
Yeah.
copied you. Yeah,
Yeah.
exact model. But I remember when they first announced Monsters at Work, the main character was scrawny.
Tiny and yellow.
Were you in that version of the show?
Yeah. What they did initially was they tried to imagine what I would look like as a monster, which was meek, unintimidating, and kind of ridiculous. And then I think somewhere along the line, they thought, wow, Ben sounds like all those adjectives. Wouldn't it be funny if aesthetically he was imposing and muscular and, beefy? So I think it's the juxtaposition of how much I don't sound or look like that created the Tyler as we know him.
So take me inside the booth. You did get to work with Henry once.
I'm Fritz.
Is that
Once.
the one time you ever got to work with anybody else?
I mean, look, I just met John in person on an airplane a week and a half ago.
Wow, okay.
We were just sitting across the aisle from each other. Or first I saw him in the terminal, and then I saw him in the airplane. I was like, hey, I'm Ben. We've done press online, and we're on a TV show for now what feels like 30 years. And he's like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. He was really nice. But I'd never even been in a room with him before. You're usually almost entirely never working with another actor. So you have to rely on brilliant producers to read opposite you and help you out and kind of build the world for you. I always say to my wife, I could do 15 hours on a live action stage and come home wide awake and be ready to go out to dinner. I could go to a party. 3 hours in a booth and I'm exhausted. It's because you're creating so much. Your brain is doing all these mental gymnastics, especially when it's a kids show and there's a lot of oh no, a lot of that, which already is exhausting. But you're imagining the doors that you're smashing into and the building that you're leaping off of and all the people around you. But by the time I come home, I'm just I'm dead. And my wife is like, why are you complaining? Remind me what you just said a couple words into a microphone and now I have to watch the kids because you're tired.
I was curious with the exhausting part of it. When Tyler roars, is that you at all? Or are they mixing you with sound effects, or how does that work?
It starts with me, but there's certainly no way that I can make a sound that horrifying, and so it is augmented.
Let's bring in the executive producer and showrunner of Monsters at Work Season 2, Kevin Deters. Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Thanks, Jace. Hey, Ben.
So I want to hear
Kevin.
your perspective.
What if I was like, hey, Kevin, and you were like, what's going on with them? Are they fighting?
Yeah. Come on. Put up your dukes.
What's your perspective of the vocal process, Kevin?
I really love working with all of the voice actors, and I will say Ben was great because he was always very prepared, except for the one time, Ben, where you came in and you're like, okay, I read the script, I think it's great. And I said, oh yeah, episode 2. You're like, oh no, I read episode 3 or whatever.
Hard as heck.
That was the one time.
But you're so good. He's so good at like there's no anger. I mean, there's maybe when I leave, there's plenty of maybe throwing
a lot of
breaking
bitterness.
glass.
Yeah.
But when I'm there,
That's when you
it's
get the
like-
roar. That's when it comes out.
That's where the roar
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah, the roar is me.
They'll walk you through every moment. And what's great about Kevin too is at the beginning. Sorry, Kevin, I know this is your time, but I'm a narcissist, so I'm going to keep talking.
Feel free.
He's great at the very beginning of the season. You know, I walk into the booth and it's not just, okay, here's the general arc and here's kind of what's going on or whatever. He had essentially a massive PowerPoint presentation with themes and motifs and just so much that I was able to download a huge amount of information right away, visual information, which is what I was saying is the kind of the key thing that makes it so exhausting. That's so much of the blanks you have to fill in. And Kevin was great at sort of dumping all that right off the bat.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like I said, it was a real pleasure. Obviously, I inherited the bulk of the cast from the films as well as season 1.
Monsters University, freshman year.
With Billy and John in particular, obviously they're iconic actors, and I've known their work ever since I was a young lad, and certainly respected and loved it. And I just tried to prepare myself as best I could with material.
Dodgeball was the best. Oh, yeah. I was the fastest one out there. Of course, I was the ball. I was the ball. Was the ball.
So with the show itself, I was, as a fan of animation and like a writer for animation, I was shocked of how good the CG looked. Because I can always tell with CG animated shows where they try to cut corners and stuff, but every episode, new characters, new locations, new everything. So Kevin, how did you get that look?
Well, a lot of that is, really careful planning up front and really having a wonderful crew and of really talented artists kind of at the top of their game. It all really comes down to the story. Everything sort of stands on that, including, the approach to design and the need for new characters and stuff like that. And this, to me, was a great opportunity to sort of maybe get a peek at other parts of the monster world that we didn't see yet. So we sort of jokingly called it monsters occasionally at work for this season.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were somewhere else,
Which is funny because it's like you guys were given this incredible opportunity to save money and energy by making a workplace sitcom, which those things
100%.
exist so that you don't have to build all these worlds, and you just threw that away.
Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment.
Ben, for you, animation-wise, now that we've seen these 2 seasons, you're in good hands, but when you're recording the voice, is it weird giving up half the performance to other animators?
Yes, and it was weirder for me in the first season because I had no idea how it was going to look.
I owe ya.
Anytime, Mike. But once I started seeing the stuff coming together, even when it was in its sort of infancy, I let go because you're right. The animators are incredible on this.
Hey, you laughing at me? You laughing at me? I gotta power this city with laughs, so you better be laughing at me.
What I'm always impressed with when Tylor does something, especially with like gesticulating, because as my wife or anybody could tell you, I do that too much. Or any director who's ever had to point a camera at me, they're constantly like, could you just keep your hands down and stuff? But it's holy to me, gesticulation. And when I'm watching Tylor do something, I'm like, that's so funny. That's how I would have moved my hand.
Yeah, so you do notice a bit of your own movements in him?
I do. And I don't know how much of a coincidence that is. But as far as the worlds, as far as the backgrounds, it's all a surprise. I mean, I'm juggling so many things in my mind in the booth that I can almost like, when you think back on a dream and you can sort of picture vaguely what the room looked like. That's how I picture it when I'm in the studio. It's almost like I'm on drugs or something, or I'm drunk, and watching it on TV is like super sober the next morning. So it all kind of becomes clear.
We'll put that on the poster. It's like I'm on drugs, Ben Feldman, Monsters at Work.
Monsters at Work.
Even now.
It's like I'm on some sort of a binge. Yeah.
I didn't sleep great. I had the weirdest dream ever.
I was in Australia a month or so ago for the thing, and 2 people ran up to me at the airport with the Tylor Tuskmon Funko. Like,
Oh, sweet.
By the way, I'm not John Goodman or Billy Crystal. Like, nobody should be running up to me at an airport. But these guys, somehow, I was like, how did you know? And like, I don't know, Mike. We just figured you'd be leaving today, because they must have seen that I had done something there. But they had like the toy there. It was the cool. I thought I looked really cool in front of my wife, but she was just annoyed, wanted to get to the gate.
I was going to say that, that's a missed opportunity.
I wish they'd do that in front of other people that I need to impress.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Oh, yes, you're right. I am the voice of Tylor.
Is everyone here? Did everyone see this? Hello?
You guys are getting this, right?
You're welcome.
Well, what is it like to have the toys, Ben? Because there were, especially with season 1, there were so many toys that came out, which really I feel like cements the show, you know?
Yeah, the toys are so cool. We've got a bunch of them in the house. My kids could not care less about toys. In fact, in general, like all their cousins are like, Uncle Ben, we watched your show. Like, they're so excited. All of their cousins. My kids are like, yeah, Daddy's the purple one. Great, cool. Can we put on some other, like Bluey for the 300th time? But every once in a while they'll point to the toys where, you know what it is, and I think this will happen later on. They don't care until there's someone to brag to. Like I've been off shooting far away, and my wife has been single parenting for months. And Charlie, my 6-year-old, had a hero day in school where he went in to talk about whose hero was. My wife so mad about this. I'm gone for months. She's doing all of the work. He goes into school and he's like, my daddy is my hero, and he's on TV, and here's a toy that my dad, like, suddenly Charlie cares. And I'm like a god because of, but in real life, no, they don't care. The toys are for me.
So this is going to come out after the show comes out on Disney+. My favorite episode is Descent into Fear.
That's the 9th, yeah.
We get a big reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you talk about Randall coming back into the fold?
Sure.
What was that like, bringing him back and getting Steve Buscemi to voice him again?
It was pretty awesome. You know, I mean, it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That was something that I wanted to do on, you know, right from the beginning, when I knew, like, okay, Tyler's going to be tempted by this other company, and I wanted the audience to feel like Johnny, maybe he's a good guy, he's got a family, he seems nice, he's a good mentor, but of course the true sort of scheme is revealed.
You see, I've got somebody on the inside.
And I thought if we really did our job right, we could mask the idea that Randall was even around at all anymore.
Randall Boggs.
And reveal it with a really great punch, which happens at the end of the 9th episode.
Mission accomplished, boss.
That's my favorite moment of the entire season. The crew really did a tremendous job pulling it off.
He has no scruples and has no moral code, and is just basically evil at heart.
I flew to New York and recorded Steve under the cover of darkness. It was a wonderful collaboration, a great guy. So yeah, I feel very fortunate that he was willing to reprise the character for the show.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, you still got it, Boggs.
Everybody watching, if you haven't seen the season yet, you have to. It's so good. And thank you guys so much for sitting down with me and talking about it.
Thanks, Jace. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was great to be here.